So my name is Nicole. I'm putting a website together on Methodist Town for the African American Heritage Association and for the Neighborhood News Bureau at USF. So first of all, thank you for coming out.
You're more than welcome.
I'm going to ask some questions, some simple questions first, and then we'll talk about Methodist Town and your childhoods and stuff like that. Does that sound good?
Great.
Okay.
Well, can I remember?
May I have your full name, please?
My name is Katie May Grimes.
Thank you.
My name is Addie Pearl. Was Braden then, but it's Robertson now.
And may I have your birth date, please?
My birthday is December the 27th, 1929.
And yours, please?
8/22/34. August 22nd. 34. That makes me 85.
Wow. Great. Thank you. And did you both spend your lives in Methodist Town? Were you born there? Here?
Well, I was born in Midville, Georgia,
So was
but
I.
at least I came here when I was about 8 years old. So I really claim St. Petersburg as my home.
Georgia was mine, honey. Did you come along with me when we came on the bus?
Sure.
Okay. May I talk?
Of course.
Okay, I remember coming from Midville, Georgia. I had to be 4 years old. And at that time, we know that you couldn't sit nowhere but on that long seat on the back of the bus. And it was me, my sister, this one, and another one. Flossie came with us, because Rosalie was already here.
Yes.
It was 3 girls came down. My grandmother put us on the bus to come down here because my mother lived down here. You haven't gotten to that yet. And I had a baby sister that lived down. My mother brought down here when she came down to work at St. Anthony. So that the 3 of us was on the bus, and we were so miserable that we would hold each other because everybody else, the older people, got a seat before we did, of course. And that was my first experience. You didn't ask me that. For being, on a bus and having to sit on a bus that long to come from Georgia, that's good 11 or 12 hours. Did we have any food? Did my mama pack us a bag?
Yeah, we did have.
Because my grandmother would have packed us some food to eat. And I can remember that like it was yesterday when I came down.
It was all segregated at that time, so we had to be on the back of the bus.
Yeah, I didn't mean it with no thing. I should, what else shall I say? You didn't ask me nothing else.
That's
But
all
I'm
right.
known for talking too much.
That's all right. The more, the better, honestly.
I get in trouble for talking too much. No, I hate it. Say yes.
I said yes.
Okay.
So the bus trip that you were talking about, was that your trip from Georgia to Florida
Yes.
to live?
Correct.
And I
Yes.
have not left here since. I mean, I went out to different places, but this was it. We had relatives here, the reason we came. And Melinda.
Yes, we had an aunt, Miss Melinda Sampson,
Mm-hmm.
Hopper Sampson.
And so what were your first kind of memories of Methodist Town?
I can remember, you think about yours. I can remember when I got here. My mother was already here with my baby sister. And Chester James, which is on the book, his wife had a kindergarten somewhere around here. And my sister that my mother brought down, the baby girl, she was going to the kindergarten. And because my mother was working, so she could pay for her, and she left us with my grandmother in Georgia. Nice lady. So when I got down here, and my sister was going to school, and she was younger than I am, and I just cried. I was so angry. But my mother didn't have enough. Well, I had just gotten down here, so naturally I wasn't in school. But my sister was, and I understood a little later that she couldn't afford to put 2 people in the kindergarten because she was, working to send after the hospital. And I can remember we lived on the next street that goes straight through. From here, if you get in your car and go down the first street, it's Burlington.
Burlington?
Yeah,
Is it
Burlington.
Okay.
And we live 1124 Burlington, probably in the middle of the block, not in the middle, no, because it's all the way down, it's way down. And we lived in this little tiny house. Is it small enough, Katie?
It's tiny.
You all heard about the tiny house? Don't make me laugh. Because a lady called and wanted to buy a lot from me, talking about she wanted to build a tiny house. I'm laugh. Anyway, it was, we had a wooden stove. She did all the cooking. My mother had well, we went to church right down here because
10th Street.
10th Street. We had an aunt that was already down here, and her husband had a barber shop. His name was Johnny
Sampson.
Johnny Sampson on Burlington. Yeah. So that was the only thing we knew, to go to that church, because that's where she went. And that's where I've gone my 30, how old am I? 84 years, because I'm 84. I'm 85, but I was 4 when I come, so I was 81. Yeah. So, and our house set up kind of off the ground, and we played under the house, and we had something they called doodle-loos, they say if you rub the little kids' knees with them, it'll teach them how to crawl. You remember that?
Yes.
And you remember us making dolls?
Fake stuff.
Making dolls? You remember we?
Yeah, for playtime.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what it was for playtime. What else we had to play with?
Cocoa bottles.
Well, that was the doll. We put
Yes,
the hair in
yeah.
for the dolls then.
Well, you were doing half of them, I'm doing the other half.
Okay, all right, then help me out. I told you I get in trouble for talking. I got to catch my breath now. You can talk. And I remember you would cook some good food for us, and we better not eat the other person on, because everybody had a certain amount, had a piece of meat, and we can eat probably as much rice and vegetables as we could, but you only had to have one piece of meat, and you better not eat nothing but that one piece of meat, because my mother worked so hard, and she works to St. Anthony, which she could walk to work. It's not very far from here.
It was just on Fifth Avenue.
Hmm?
It's still on that Fifth Avenue.
It's
down
still
there.
on Fifth Avenue.
Yes, and it's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and she had a credit. I remember our rent, because we were renting that little old tiny house. It was like $7. We were discussing that coming over here. Our rent was like $7 a month for that little house we were living in. And when my sister right here was growing up, because she was the oldest, you had the windows that you lit up and down, and you put the stick in it to hold it up or down at night when you go to bed. And she would live out the veranda, because she was the oldest. And we would move the stick and let her in, because we had two rooms and a kitchen. The girls had a room, and my mother had a room. Our bathroom was outside, and the neighbor used. I mean, it was
a
1, 2,
neighborhood.
3 houses.
It was
4 houses used the same bathroom. Okay.
and past strangers too.
Anybody who wanted to.
Anybody
Yeah.
passing through.
Yeah.
And we were responsible for keeping it clean.
Mm-hmm. And we
Because
had
we were girls, my mother didn't want us
to go
in a lot of filth.
And we had a real good mother. She lived to be 92, thank God. I was about to tell who had to wash the clothes? Who?
Well, you know that was assigned to me because I was the oldest, but you and Bessie had to rinse them and wring them.
And sometimes we had to boil water to
Yeah, we had a big old iron black pot where we would put the potash in there with the water and bleach the clothes in the potash. And we had to take them out of the hot water with the long stick, so we wouldn't get burned potashed.
And put them in the cold water to
Put
rinse
them
them.
in, rinse them, and then we put them in a blue rinse
Blue rinse.
with some blue coloring.
Blue.
to make them brighter
It
white.
wasn't a real glue that would stain it or anything. No, we had to hang them on the line, of course, and we had to take them down. Did somebody steal some of your clothes one time?
Oh, that was after I was married.
Oh, after you was married. Okay, we got to get before we were married. Okay, then we started going to school. We had a bus driver. No, we walked to Davis
No,
because that was on 3rd Avenue.
Oh, we went to Davis School,
Yeah.
elementary school.
On 3rd Avenue.
We had to walk across
uh,
First Avenue.
busy.
We had to walk across Central, and then we walked across a little bridge with just a board, and there was the Booker's Creek running under it, and we were always afraid we were going to fall in. And
That was when we
and
went
it's still there. It's still
down
running
by where the
there
police
right now.
station was, right, that way. But we
it's-
would usually go down
We
Central
all-
Way.
No, we didn't
No,
go
that's
that way
it.
until later.
You was older
After
than
we
me,
got-
right?
After we got older.
When we got older. Because we didn't catch the bus going to Davis, not until we got
They
out
didn't
of
have
Davis.
buses for us.
I said we didn't, yeah. Okay. What else I remember? After we left Davis, we had a theater. The Hollow Theater was not far from
Yeah,
the
the
school.
Holland Theater.
And the
Third
church that you
Avenue.
went to
10th
later
Street.
on.
That's after I got.
Yeah, after you got grown and got married.
Mhm.
When you got married and left us, and who cooked for us then? Yeah?
When I got married, I don't know who was cooking.
Cash, no wonder I'm so small. You didn't feed me. Okay. But it was 4 girls, 1, 2, Blossom and Rosalie. Okay. Until my mother had another daughter, Jackie. Now, let me see. We got to get there before we went to Gibbs. Because after we left Davis School, we went to Gibbs. And everybody finished.
And we
12th
had to
grade.
walk from the north side to Gibbs, where Gibbs now still sit.
No, we didn't. Mr. Peterson had a bus that people.
No, darling, the bus didn't pick us up. We had to walk to school. We had to fight hard and pay for our own bus.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you going?
I was born here, I'm younger than y'all. But she's talking about the Blue Goose. The first school bus ever, the school district didn't buy that. Black folk raised money
Sure
and
did.
bought the Blue
Okay.
Goose.
That's
and
right.
Joseph Lovett's daddy,
Okay.
the older Joseph
That's
Lovett, was
right.
the first
Okay.
bus driver. And the
Oh.
Blue Goose would break down. It was a raggedy old bus, but it was the only school bus you had.
I
Yes,
don't
sir.
remember. I don't remember that. You're not
You're
That's
too
okay.
young.
That's okay,
She's
sweetie.
only 5 years older
Yeah, but
than
it's
I
one
am.
in between.
Okay, I don't remember that.
And we had to buy that bus
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes.
And Mr. the tall brown skin man.
Mr. Peterson?
Lovett.
was-
Mr. Lovett was
Mr.
the
Lovett
first bus.
drove,
Lovett,
but
okay.
then we got another bus driver. He was a teacher.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I was gonna remember his name. Tangela and her were friends, Mr.
Hey. No.
Tangela.
My dad?
Yes,
my dad?
Tommy, that's the only Tangela.
They were friends?
Yeah, when she comes, she would go out and visit her out where the girl lived.
Okay.
Um,
It'll come back. You know, I have the old thing. But Katie, do you remember when you would cook the chicken feet for us? We had to go to Idle, which is not. It's on the next street over. Not.
Oh, yes,
Uh-huh.
we had a chicken market over here, a poultry market. The door is open from the back. It's right next to now where Coney Island sits. The hot dog stand right over, right
You
down
all
the
don't.
street.
They probably
Yes.
don't live. You all live.
My husband grew up around here.
Oh, okay.
He did, and
So,
so I know where Coney Island is.
Yeah, right.
That's
Okay,
Coney
all
Island.
right, okay.
Right next to it was a big poultry market there. And we had to go to the back door to ask for the chicken feet. They sold us a big bag of chicken feet for $10. 10 cents. I'm sorry, erased $1. For only 10 cents. And he knew your mother had children, you know, because they get to learn who you are. So we got quite a few chicken feet
They
for,
were good too.
for 10 cents. And Coney Island, that beats the segregation. They had taken a block out of the wall, and it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yes, it is.
We had to go there to place our order, and they would pass it out through that hole, that block that was taken out. You go there and check it out now, it's still
They got it covered
there.
up.
It's covered up now, but it's still there. I have been in there, and it brings back memories of how you were treated during those times. I mean, it's only God that kept us and keeps our race of people, because you can't let it get to you where it affects you mentally, but you don't forget, but you don't harbor it. And it's a crying situation if you just fell into what has taken place for your life, you know. It's not the best. So, and I'm thankful and grateful that God has given me the strength to stand strong and be strong.
And be
As Negro race, we are strong. We are strong black people. And only God could do that. Because we have gone through it.
and
We have gone through it, and it's no better now, don't let me tell you.
it's a little better.
It is 90 years old. It is no better. It's getting worse.
Hey, not quite.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we
Things
got it
have
out.
changed slightly, but it is still bad, okay? I'm not saying it's completely.
Okay.
They're not hanging you now, but you can't get stuff. They got you still bogged down for answers. So,
I want to say one thing before we miss
I
where
don't
when
want
we
to get out of my.
No, you do. I love it. I'm sitting here soaking it up.
can I,
You can edit
you
me
do for a
out.
minute.
Feel free to talk, darling.
Can I ask a
Yes, you
question?
Yes, ma'am.
Mother Grimes, tell us what food you cooked other than chicken feet. What else did you cook for them?
I used to cook the steak, rice, cornbread, greens, cabbage, carrots. And then we had plenty of fruit trees. Oh my goodness, we had anything we wanted in our yard. Plums, guavas, mangoes, and all that was just demolished. Everything just went away. Then the next thing you know, it's in the storefronts. We have nothing in our neighborhoods anymore. They destroyed everything. Everywhere we are located, they just move us out and around, and everything is destroyed. Everything that God gave us free that we could eat, we have to go and purchase it now.
And one more thing, I learned to sew. I didn't have a sewing machine, but at Otto's where we bought the chicken feet, which is right on the next street, they would sell when the feet. I don't know what came in the bags, but they were bags with the chicken feed or something in it, and that had little flowers in it. We would buy the sack and make our skirts out of it. Mm-hmm. Yep, and we had to we had a rubber and a tub. You know, we didn't have we had an iron because sometimes we had to iron our socks.
We had to heat it on what though?
I'm so sorry. What?
What you heated your iron on?
What heat? Oh, on the wooden stove, and we had a smoothing iron, and you heat it. And if your socks wasn't dry to go to school, we'd iron out, put it on, and iron our socks, to get them dry. I think you will mind sometime.
I would love to kind of get a picture
Good.
from your perspective of your neighborhood, of your block, of your your house and your neighbors. Can you paint that picture for me?
Okay.
As my sister Ann stated, you walked up on 2 steps, and there was a little porch, and we had a swing on the left-hand side. And the mailbox was up on a post too, on the right-hand side. And we had a screen door with a wooden door. Never locked it. You didn't have to lock it during that time. We walked into the little kitchen, and to the left was 1 bedroom with a closet built with the curtains. Not a real closet. Bedroom was there. Then we had a heater stove with a chimney in that room.
Keep
And
on
the
with it.
second room was the bedroom that was my mother used. It had 2 windows, and ours had, the front bedroom had 2 windows. And on the side of the house, we had a little back porch there. That's where we put our tub to wash our clothes. And on the back side of the house was the outhouse. We call it the outhouse. It was wooden. And then behind us, there were houses, which was Second Avenue. So, and our neighborhood didn't go any farther than Fifth Avenue North to Second Avenue North. And then from 13th Street to 9th Street, but limitation still on 9th Street. Because I can remember when they had the parades, we couldn't even go and watch the parade. Coming down 9th Street, leaving north, going south. 9th Street right behind you. And we had to try to slip to kind of come to peep because we were right on Burlington, so we could kind of stand out in our street and look down. We weren't even allowed to the parade. So, and then every time it would happen, it would rain, and we were so glad. We would laugh because to us, that was punishment for the parade. That's what we thought, So it would almost rain every year. Almost drown them out.
So now in our neighborhood, we had a nice neighborhood. We knew everybody in the neighborhood. We had little fights. Next day we go to school together. Everybody walked to school together. It wasn't like it is now. You're fighting, it's over.
And then the neighbors watched out for one another's
They
children.
told everything.
Anything we had done that day, mother would know it. They were chastised and they would spank you too. And then when mother got home and she heard news, we got another spanking. So,
Mostly you.
so it takes a neighborhood to raise or it takes a village to raise kids now. And we have gotten away from that. We need love and family love, neighborhood love. We can't exist without one another.
We really had a good life. I think I had a good life. I guess because I didn't know what another life was, but it was a good life. We had friends. We had friends over there. Like she said, one neighbor, and you better not talk back to nobody. You better not. If you did, they better not hear you. And I had good, nice friends. The neighborhood was great. That's all I can say. Everybody in the neighborhood was good.
We still love one another. See, when those little young ladies that came in, we knew their parents. So there was no animosity or jealousy or hate or anything. It just went on from generation to generation. So.
And the houses was real close together, of course. But Now ask us some more questions. Maybe we can answer.
Sure. Where did you play when you were kids?
Play underneath the house and in the front yard.
In the front yard, down on the in the sand.
And if we did have a sidewalk, because we would draw a hopscotch. Did we have a?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a sidewalk, kind of broken up, but it was a sidewalk. We could draw a hopscotch and play the hopscotch. And when it rained and my mama was working and she told us to always be inside when it rained, but we decided we'd go out in the rain
And play.
and play in the rain. We got souls, didn't we?
Sure, you have sores.
From playing out in the rain and in the sand. And
Was that in Patago?
I
Is
think
that what
so.
we call it in Patago?
Yeah.
I got those too when I was a little girl.
You have sores all over your legs.
Yeah, and they take peroxide on cotton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did you live?
I lived at 1305 Fifth Avenue South.
Oh, she lived.
Oh, stop. I lived on what they call Sugar Hill. Yeah.
Like the Jefferson, she had moved up. Okay.
Now the people around me moved up. I was in an apartment building surrounded by two-story
Around by
houses.
Mr. Ponder, the doctor, and all
right
those,
next door to
and the
Mr.
funeral
Ponder.
home.
Yes.
We probably didn't even play with you.
No.
You're younger than me now. You are, but even if we had been the same age, we probably would have played with them because they would live on
excuse
Fifth
me.
Avenue. You know.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
That's it. I'm sure she told you.
The north side, the south side and the north side didn't
Get along.
get along.
Because
We
when we grew up, the boys.
We were arch enemies.
And Third Avenue was in between us, so there was the north side, then the Third Avenue Maniacs, and then the south side, and so yeah.
You don't. The south siders don't come to the north side.
Sure,
North
that's
side,
But we
no,
were
that's
on the
right.
north side of town.
Oh, you better not.
Yeah, we have a little
Fight.
rackets.
Little fight.
Was there any reason for that, or was it just
Well,
neighborhood?
Well,
It
you
was
know,
just-
you're not welcome over here.
Let's come
all.
over here in
You're
our
just not
neighborhood.
welcome. Our girls are over here. You're not coming over here.
That's right.
You know, this is not your side of town. just like the Westerners. You don't go on their land.
I never came on the north side.
You never came on the outside?
Y'all just said I wasn't welcome. You had the Harlem Theater, we had the Royal Theater.
But now we would go, yeah, sure did. We had the Howard Theater. And we could only go to the movies if we went to BYPU, which is church, on Sunday evening. And it was like 9 cents. And probably couldn't afford that. But and I remember, and Mama's sister and Melinda, she would always give me lunch money for school every week. I loved her. She was so nice. And we'd go down to the barber shop with her husband, barber shop on Burlington, and ask him for money. We couldn't ask no men for money, but see, he was our uncle, so we could ask him for some money. He'd give us probably a nickel, and that would go a long ways at that time. I'm sorry. I had to tell that.
And she's talking about the neighborhood. though,
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
we
the
had a
neighborhood.
fair neighborhood. All the neighbors knew you, and I mean, all down the whole both sides of the street.
All
And they
around.
watched out for you, and and we really didn't have any trouble because we weren't worried about the side boys and things coming.
Not until we got how old?
Well, over 18.
Probably 16,
About
because we
18.
were going to high school. What about when you used to slip out the window to go down to Joe's to dance, and we'd let you back in, and Mama was in her room sleep? I don't know why she couldn't wake up, because this was our room and this was her room. But we let you in, didn't we?
Yeah, we all went down to Joe's.
I didn't go down to Joe's now.
No, not at night, but we were down there. Because he sold ice cream and
Oh, we'd go down there and
sundries
get ice cream
and candy.
and candy, yeah. But you go down there and dance with your first year.
I could never learn how to dance.
Where was Joe's? Where was Joe's?
Joe's was about a half a block from our house. Joe's.
Everything was so close, like the blocks seemed to have been
Everything was
shorter when we were coming up. The blocks are long now. But everything was just,
Everything was compact.
everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew who was related to everybody. It was just, it was more like a family place where we lived, because everybody would tell on the girls, if we didn't come straight home, because everybody knew what time school was out or whatever, but we would walk and talk with the girls. And we better not be talking with no boys until you get a certain age. Ask something else now. We'll think of it, because you must remember what age we are. You all are older than us.
What about Gibbs?
Yeah, tell me about Gibbs High. Going to Gibbs.
Gibbs, it was a wonderful school, because that's the only school we knew. And then we had some young ladies that could play basketball real good. Young guys that played football, Freddie Dowes. We had good basketball team, good home economics teachers. And
He had the best teachers.
yeah,
Our teachers cared for us and looked out for us, and they helped us a whole lot.
thank
If it
God.
wasn't for our teachers, I don't know where we would be either. Now,
It was a
we
bit-
don't get that care. It's like a caste or
but
a
you-
line is drawn between. Because we don't want to come together to understand each other, so we'll never get together until you learn how the other person lives, how they feel, And God didn't intend for it to be that way. He created us all the same, and we are supposed to commingle, to get along.
Ask something else. Anything else?
Will you tell me about the businesses that you went to, the people in your neighborhood that were really important to you?
But I had a beautician. Her name is in the book, and as my sister has stated, my uncle, he owned a barber shop, and when we had restaurants, we had dry
Building.
cleaners.
Yeah.
Everything we needed was in our neighborhood.
Didn't have to go
We
back.
had grocery stores. Some of them were all black owned, white. They didn't fight or separate themselves.
We had a drugstore.
We had a drugstore. It was a drugstore.
We
It
had
was operated
cleaners
by
in the
white, but
neighborhood.
we were treated nice. We
Mr. JP had the cleaners.
and Mr. Knox had a cleaners.
Cleaners,
There was 2 dry cleaners in our neighborhood.
And a lot of the teachers lived on the north side of town, and the rest of them lived on Fifth Avenue. Stone.
We had the Macklins on the north side. They were teachers. We had the Pedons. We had Jennifer Moses, and we
Right.
had
The
we
Mosleys
had
had
Moses.
the cleaners, didn't they?
Moses.
Yeah. They had the cleaners?
Yeah, we have stated that.
Who had the funeral home? Miss McRae?
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams. Oh, yeah, because
We had a funeral home over here on.
we had
10th
one on
Street.
22nd. We didn't have one on the north side.
No, we were on we had a funeral home right down on 10th Street before you get to Fifth Avenue, the
Okay.
Williams.
Okay.
That was after segregation. He moved out there.
I remember that. I was too young then.
So I just say we We had everything in our neighborhood that we needed, even
We did.
after segregation, where they signed the Segregation Act. And then we started moving out. So some of the things moved, you know, to the south side. And they still had businesses, everything we needed. Billet parlors,
Churches, funeral homes,
churches, funeral homes, stores, restaurants, a dance hall, which was the Manhattan Center. And
And
just
she lived on Fifth Avenue. Now I'm not hugging her anymore.
so
Where she?
we've always been embraced with something, you know. So
Why don't you, I know we took some photos of it, but can you tell me about the book you brought?
about this book that I brought over here,
Yes, ma'am.
we organized the
Good.
Methodist Town Pioneers under the auspices of the community over here. We wanted to have we just wanted to be represented and known that we existed.
Copy something.
And our president, Mr. What was his name, Pearl? Charles W. Howard.
Charlie Howard.
He, we organized under him.
That's
And
when you all
from
set up
there-
the little,
And from there, we got all of the members on the north, that were people that from the north side, Methodist Town, the north side, and everybody's name is on this list here.
and name on there.
And these are the ones that worked with us.
Because I didn't come to you
All
all
of
meetings.
these names here that I have. So,
I didn't come
and
to
we
you
had
all
a
meetings.
big-
Kenny.
we had, after we had organized, we planned to have our social time where everybody was dressed pretty and we had a big dinner at Bethel Community Church, which is on 16th Street
Oh, yeah.
South.
It's not there,
And we
is it?
have,
No.
and everything was beautiful. I mean, the food, the social part of it, the speakers, everything was just so beautiful. But I do not know what happened. We had another meeting or two, but I don't know what happened to our pioneers. I don't know what happened. It just
Just stop.
stopped. I don't know what happened.
Who, Charlie Howard was over it, right?
Yes, he was.
Oh, well, you all didn't go to meet no more, that's all, that's what happened.
Because we had wanted to continue to grow and expand, you know. We'd have been sitting where you are now if we had continued.
Asking somebody else
Asking
questions.
somebody else questions.
Yeah, I remember
younger
that.
generation.
I remember.
When did the pioneers start?
Hmm?
When did the pioneers start? Was that 1990 there?
Yes.
And so that was well after everyone had
Started
kind of
moving.
moved and things
Mhm.
like that. And
Yeah,
so you were
yes.
still really close then.
Mhm. Yes.
Well, we really stayed close. Oh my God, we stayed really close. They're just like the ones that go here and that was in here working. That was down here with what's the name? I know. Oh, I have a hard time with
Who,
names.
Alchemies?
Alchemies and those. Then like well, the mother was older than me because Francis and those was older than me, but it was just so nice because we went to. I was young and their mother was older, so we would go to them for information that we wanted to know about the boys and everything. I remember that real good, because I don't remember being able to go to mother to ask her anything. So I know Cranston knows was telling us anything we wanted to know, the older ladies would. And we didn't want to go to her because that was my mama's daughter, so we could go to her to ask her anything. It was really, and I can't tell you, anyone that lived over here that I know that's still living, that I don't like, I have a problem with or anything. It's just we started moving and things got different, because I remember when we moved, we didn't move until we started getting married, did we?
That's right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Because I know, I can remember moving when I got married. Oh my God. And Joe had a car, and we never had a car, you know. What's a car? What's a car? The bus. You know, and on Sunday we would have to walk to the theater and come back at night. We weren't allowed to go unless more than 1 or 2 or 3 people were going. Yeah. It was.
I can remember we, for our Sunday afternoon, we would stroll down Central,
Really?
look in the furniture stores and just dream. That's the that was entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Because we couldn't go nowhere else. And they did have the La Plaza Theater, which was on 5th Street, right, and between Central and First Avenue. We had to go out up the back stair steps, up to buy the ticket now. You go to the window and buy the ticket. Walk around the building, go up the back steps to go up in the balcony to watch the movie. Then we would throw stuff down on you all.
You supposed to say on them.
Yeah, I said on you all.
I heard you.
They're talking to us, I can talk.
Yeah, well, it's
No
it's
partiality.
all over. No, I didn't mean it
I'm
like
over
that.
all that.
Oh, child.
Remember what we did when we were young.
If we weren't talking about it, I had forgotten all about all of this. But the more you talk about it, it just comes back up. Yeah.
I know Miss Carol is probably ready. So.
And we all finished school, because Mama would have killed us if we hadn't. And my mother raised us so good by herself. We were good. I was good. I was the best one, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. During your sleep time.
You know what? You know, I was afraid, and I was afraid to sleep in a bed by myself or anything. I always covered my head. You never knew that?
No.
Sure, always. Now, if somebody walk behind me and I don't see him, it scares me now. I've always been afraid. I don't like living by myself. I'm really afraid. I don't know why.
Is there anything we haven't talked about that's important for you to speak about?
Well, we can tell about the dolls, did we? For playtime, when she was asking us about playtime.
Or what did we do when we played? I think you mentioned something about making the dolls with the Coca-Cola bottle.
No, we talked in the car. I don't remember.
And putting the
saying-
hair in the head. You didn't? Well, I
Yeah,
know.
she said playtime. I remember that, but you were talking. I didn't interrupt. Because well, mother couldn't afford things, of that nature. And then where would we go to purchase it, So our imaginations, we made our own toys. We took skates, made our own skateboards. We got wood and had the handles on them, and we could skate for a long time. And then for the dolls, we would get a Coca-Cola ball because it was already shaped. And we would put twine in it, separated, and it would hang, and it was curly, pretty like yours. And then we would use the silk off of corn ears. And we would use that also for doll hair. And then we would stick ice cream sticks or something down in the top so it would hold it in the bottle. And we played all day. We always had dolls.
Thank you.
Always had toys.
Thank you very much. And I'll be in contact too because I want to take pictures of anything that you have, and that way we can get it all to the African American Heritage Association so it's in one place.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Elisa.
I hope we were of some help.
Absolutely.